Hey boys and girls, how are you doing? I'm here with Sean of Blue Tech Mobile Detailing. He's going to be helping me today, and he will, let's just call you my videographer. How about that? Are you okay with that? Okay, cool. And by the way, you can check out your channel. They would find you Blue Tech Mobile Detailing, correct? Okay. Today's topic is getting in and out of your car properly without doing unwanted damage to your car for the long term, assuming that you're one of those people that want to keep your car long term and you would prefer to not do additional damage or what I would call unwanted damage. So let's get started with that. I'm going to break this into two subjects in order to keep this video shorter versus longer. I know, thumbs up, right? So, getting in, getting out of your car, the do's and don'ts. Getting into your car. First off, we use the door handle. When we use the door handle, what we do is we have awareness. You likely have some form of jewelry on your hand. Most of you will have some form of fingernails. Both of those objects have the ability to do unwanted damage. So when you grab the door handle to open your car door, you will generally, without awareness, scratch continually the inside or back side of the door handle. Over time, this will accumulate and it will look like black, brownish, dirty skid marks behind the door handle. Also, if you have the right type of jewelry, especially if you're a woman with a diamond ring, diamonds are very hard. It's a very hard material. It will cut glass. Guess what it will do to your car paint? It can literally scratch your car paint to the point where it cannot be fixed. So you just need to be aware of that. So we grab the door handle to open the door. What we don't do is we don't grab the door handle with so much fervor and swing it open to the point where you're now putting unwanted stress on the door hinges. Why is that a problem? Because if you do that long enough for over periods of years, those door hinges located right up there are going to loosen up. Once those door hinges loosen up enough, now your entire door becomes misaligned and it will start a wear pattern in unwanted areas. So we don't swing the door without control. So we grab the door handle with control, we open it up. Did you hear that? That was my ring hitting against the glass. But I know this is tempered glass, it's not going to be a big deal. But that's where awareness comes in. So we open the door with the amount of control to control it. We also open the door that's appropriate. You got to keep two things in mind. One, how much room do you need to get into the car itself? Based on your size, based on if you have anything in your hand perhaps. Secondly, is there a car next to you that you need to be aware of? And this is what's just called consideration. And the context of door dings. We do not want to ding the car that might be sitting next to us in the parking lot at the market or the bank or wherever. So those are the two things you need to keep in mind. How much room do I need to get in? Is there a car next to me? Because not only are you going to ding their car possibly, but you might chip the edge of your car. So it's a two-way street in that moment. So that's how we open the door. And since we are talking about doors and opening them, let me show you how we shut a door. I know, there's really a way to shut a door. Yes, you know what it is? It's you shut it with enough force that's appropriate. You don't shut it with the amount of force that's inappropriate. What do I mean by this? It's called slamming the car door. I see people do it all day long. Not only do they slam the car door so hard, which that actually wasn't really hard because I really don't want to slam the door on my car itself. So you don't slam it shut where you're going to need a can opener to now pry it open. Also, when you shut the door, you've got to apply strategy. What I see many people do, which you should not do, is this. They will grab the edge of the door on the paint. Now, as a rule, your car, even when it's freshly washed, is going to have some level of dirt on it. Most of you will be shutting your car door with a healthy amount of dirt on it. So when you press up against the paint with your fingers and you shut the car like that, guess what happens? Over time, you're going to continue to scratch the car paint, and over time, I've seen on many cars where they will literally wear the paint off the edge of the door because they repeatedly shut it by doing that. That is not what you do. So when you shut the car door, there's many ways you can do it based on your car. Generally what I do is I grab the edge of this, because really you don't need a whole lot of strength, a whole lot of force to shut a car door. This window is a frameless window. It's just glass. So I simply take the glass here, I shut it just like that. Now there's some people that will, because they're so overzealous and they don't care, they will grab the glass here and they'll push against it. Now you'll see that that glass can flex quite a bit. Once again, over time, it's going to do some loosening up of components in there that may be unwanted, that you may have to fix and pay to get fixed moving down the road, that you're not going to want to do. So we're talking about prevention here. So first, you don't want to flex that glass. So that's why I grab it here and I just use the edge. Why do I use the edge? Because I don't want to grab it like this and get a bunch of fingerprints on my clean window. Even though it hasn't been freshly cleaned, I don't want to make it dirtier sooner. I would like to just let it get dirty on its own without adding insult to injury. So I will grab the glass here and shut it just like that. That's how you shut a door. Let's talk about getting in and out of the car, because that is a common thing that, once again, people just simply lack awareness of. Now that we've discussed in great detail how to get, or I should say, how to open and close the door, the do's and don'ts, let's talk about actually getting your physical body in and out of the car, the do's and don'ts. One of the common things I see people do is they will slide their body into the car seat. So you've got your back, you've got your butt. Why is this a problem? Well, for example, I have leather interior. I have seen people get brand new cars, and because the husband or the wife slide without knowing right across the side bolster, whether it's here against your back or against your butt, and they will wear the finish off of it within a month of buying a brand new car. Okay, all the cleaner and conditioners in the world are not going to prevent that, because every time you slide across, and if you put enough weight against it, you will create enough friction. Well, you will permanently damage and permanently wear off the finish of that car leather. You will also do that with upholstery, whether it's a fabric, a velour, sport seating, matters not. So with that said, is how does Darren get, or how does Darren recommend you get into the car? Well, I recommend you apply a little bit of two things. One, strategy. Two, awareness. In order to prevent unwanted wear and tear on your car, a couple of suggestions. First off, you don't put undue pressure or weight, and you don't use your car door as a leverage to get in and out of your car door. Because some of you are a substantial size. I'm 160 pounds. Even that would be too much. So I see people where they were to literally lean onto their car door and put so much stress on it, you can see the car door actually bow. And once again, that's going to put undue stress on those door hinges. Long term, that's going to be a problem. Short term, you're not going to be aware of it. So how does Darren recommend? How do I do it? Well, this is only where you can figure out, because every person literally is created uniquely, as well as every car is configured, engineered uniquely. So this, I'm just going to offer some suggestions. So the steering wheel, as a rule, is pretty stable. It's strong, it's attached, it's stable, it's a stable point. So there's areas of the car that aren't going to flex and bow like your car door. A couple of areas that I use is the brake pedal and the steering wheel. I grab my steering wheel. I can put quite a bit of pressure on my steering wheel. That's not really a problem. So I grab my steering wheel, and now, if I really want to keep my floor mats really clean, is I will just step on the brake pedal with my right foot. And I place my body, my butt specifically, onto the seat. I don't drag it across the seat. Then I swing my leg, my left leg, into position. Now, if you need your hands to do it, do it. What you need to be aware of that a lot of people aren't, and likely when you go out to your car after you watch this video, you will see that you likely have skid marks, what I call skid marks, right on the threshold plate. Now, every car is different. You're going to have areas of paint. You're going to have areas of a threshold plate that may be made up of plastic, some type of metal. There's going to be different components, different materials. So what happens is, as people get in and out of their car, they're going to drag the heel of your foot against that threshold plate. They're also going to kick the side of the seat here. So there's basically two areas right here that just your heel alone, if you do not have the awareness of, oh wow, I'm getting into my car, I need to be aware of where my heel is not touching. Specifically, I don't want it to touch my car and create skid marks and permanent damage to the materials of the inside of my car. So there's two areas here and there that are potential problem. Then you have the front of your foot. So what happens is people will kick the door panel here, right there, as well as skid with their heel over here. So there's now two areas that you need to be concerned with, which is two areas of your foot. The front of your foot and the back of your foot. So if you need to grab your leg and do it with full intention, I don't care what it takes. If you want to keep your car looking its best, this is what it's going to require. Because by the way, over a period of time, you do this enough, or you do it aggressively enough, and you will create permanent damage that cannot be cleaned away. I don't care how good of a detailer you hire, he cannot clean away or condition away that type of damage. Now you're in your car and you're good to go. How about getting out of your car? Well, this is once again where you have to apply two things, awareness and strategy. The steering wheel is a good point because it's stable, it's sturdy. You have what's called a dead pedal often in a lot of cars, especially a sports car. It's basically a pedal that your left foot can lay against, and they call it a dead pedal. So that's very sturdy. It's a good point of leverage, just like your steering wheel. Also, the back here is a good point of leverage that I use with my elbow. So I get out like this, I put my foot on the brake pedal, which is a good point of leverage, because I can press that as hard as I want, because brake pedals are meant to be pressed hard, especially in an emergency situation. And then I can use this arm. For example, let's say I don't have the strength to just do this and get out without hitting any of the areas that are unwanted with my feet. I can get in and out of my car and not use my hands, but that's because I'm in a certain amount of physical shape in order to do that. A lot of you guys and girls will not be in that position. So I'm offering suggestions that you can use so that you don't damage your car, but you still have the capacity to get in and out of your car. So you leverage against the brake pedal, you grab the steering wheel, and you might use the back of your arm to leverage yourself out of it like that. You can use the threshold plate like this with your hand, because your hand's not going to scuff up the threshold plate. But that's really only what you can figure out based on the constraints of your health, the size of your body, your age, your ailments, injuries, the constraints of the car, how big is the opening of the door, all these variables that you need to factor into the equation so that you don't do some unwanted damage. The goal is to help you preserve your car for the long term or the short term if you don't like that unwanted damage. Okay, with that said, in closing, let me add this. I'm going to show you how Darren shuts the door of his particular car. As I've explained at the beginning, I simply grab the glass right along the edge so I create no fingerprints. I close it with just enough force to close the door without over closing it. I will end there. Hopefully you learned a little something, awareness and strategy in getting in and out of your car, opening and closing the car door. I know it may seem trivial to some of you, but I guarantee there's people, especially someone that just bought a brand new car, that will be like, oh my gosh, I never thought of this stuff. I know on the car that I just got rid of, it had all those things that Darren described, whether it's the skid marks here, the chips, the wear patterns, the skid marks, go down the list. It's like, I don't want that on my new car. Well, hopefully now you know how to prevent that on your new car. It really does come about with awareness. So if you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. By all means, tune into the next video. Subscribe. If you want to be alerted every time I upload a new video, simply hit the bell icon after you hit the subscribe icon and you will be alerted. And we, with that said, will see you on the next video.